tales of the
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we finally execute the saga.
Yeah, the final execution has been televised.
Yes. We're back. We're going to this episode is going to be a little shorter than usual. There's 5 issues of this comic book left. We're going to cover 3 today, and then the episode the next episode will have the last 2, as well as kind of our wrap-up thoughts about the series as a whole. I would say go ahead and take the time, if you want to send us your insights about Uncanny X-Men or Uncanny X-Force. I'm still compiling all of our feedback, so eventually we'll have a feedback episode, but I don't think we're going to like put a call out or anything. But if you have thoughts, send it to us. We can, Twitter is probably the easiest way, or just email us. All of that stuff's on the website, daysoffuturecast.com. Yeah, I'm excited to get into this, Gary. This is going to be super fun.
Yeah. Part of the reason, if you're disappointed by the slightly shorter episodes, part of it is because of travel for me. I'll take the blame on that. I've got a convention doing at the end of the month, so getting ahead is going to help me with that. And also during that next episode, I have now read a little bit, at least, of all the major Rick Remender Marvel runs.
Oh, excellent.
So I've been kind of going through it. I haven't finished Venom.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only one I haven't finished.
Okay.
So it's been I've been kind of doing a deep dive with this creator. It's been fun.
And
I can talk about that a little bit.
Before we get too far into the podcast, we had a note come in from Randall via our website, and I just wanted to mention this now because I was not aware of this at all. So I'm going to read his email that he wrote to us.
Read his email address.
Yes, I'm going to read his telephone.
I'm going
number.
to read his address. Yeah. We weren't aware of this, so we're going to dox the fucker.
Yeah. I set up a call in, like a Google number for Monster of the Week one time, and we only had like a couple of people that like called in, and I got confused as I was reading the phone number that I was reading on the site, but what I was actually reading was the person who called in's phone number, and so I just read a dude's phone number like straight up on the internet. I felt kind of bad about that.
Oh no.
Anyway, this is from Randall. Hey guys, I just listened to the most recent episode, X MILFs, and wanted to share this tidbit about Durkin, just in case you get yelled at online. Fun thing about the name is that it's actually a slur in Japanese that means mongrel. So yeah, there's been some discourse around it, and that makes some people uncomfortable. Great news is that if you think it's stupid, you can just call him Akiro, which is his birth name. I think Logan named him, but I'm not sure. Also, there's an effort in the most recent volume of Marauders to change his X-Men code name to Fang, so we'll see if that sticks. Anyway, that was it. See you later. So yeah, I didn't know any of this at all, and that's pretty. Seems like a pretty shitty thing for somebody to create a character and call it a slur. So I just wanted to bring it up.
I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't love it either.
Yeah. One of my least favorite things is when somebody puts like a slur in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you can be mad at me and say like, oh, you guys should have Googled this. I cannot stress how little I care about Dakin.
Also, like
Dakin Akiro. And it's been going on for comics and now for like 15 years. I assumed it would have been changed by now if it was, I don't know. There are certain assumptions you make with a major publishing company.
Also, I'll just say, because I just did it. I just Googled the name. It's gonna be. We're just gonna call him Fang, I think maybe, or maybe call him Akiro or whatever.
Akiro.
Throughout the rest
or
of
like
this.
shitbag stain on the floor who dies in these issues.
Absolutely, cannot wait for this dude to never talk about
Wolverine
this guy again.
Shitty kid.
But I did just Google it, and does not appear anywhere on the front page of Google. That his name is a slur. So I mean, I'm not.
So please, if people are frustrated by that, please chalk that up to ignorance.
Yes,
that it was and not malice.
And we're going to go out of our way to make complicated names for this man, this character from here on out.
And this puts him to sleep for a while, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not surprised. I think he came out of either the Daniel Way Wolverine run or the Jeff Loeb Wolverine run with like Romulus.
Ooh.
So I'm not too surprised. Like the writer for his creation, I think, is a writer who is not great. So not too surprised that they thought it was cool and edgy.
Yeah.
To name him this slur. I hate him.
Yeah.
He's one of my least favorite characters in this entire universe. He's so obnoxious.
He's so obnoxious.
Every time he shows up, it's the same one note bullshit.
Character with daddy issues, like over and over and over again. Also, I'll just get this out of the way because I was going to talk about it later. His claws are dumb. Like,
yeah, really dumb.
The bottom claw is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. It'd be like trying to.
It's like if you want that one to break every single time you try to use the other ones,
right? It also seems like it would prevent him from doing like a normal slash, right? Like it just doesn't. Yeah. Just having the third one on the bottom is so fucking stupid. It's like one of those like fucking arcade machines, like the picky up arcade machines that just doesn't open. Like it looks like that. It looks like the claw from that.
Yeah, like a UFO catcher. It took me a long time to be sold on X-23's foot claws.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was really stupid. And then I saw the movie Logan and they made it. I was like, okay, this could maybe be cool.
Yes. Yeah.
This in action might be kind of cool. It looks dumb in the comics, but this is all right. But this third claw stuff, I can't.
Yeah, I can't get behind it.
Abide.
Do you want to remind folks what we've been doing in Uncanny X-Force up till now?
Quite possibly the longest single storyline in a comic we've covered. For the show, we are in Final Execution Chapter 7 here. This is the culmination of Uncanny X-Force. And basically what this is dealing with, Phantom X is dead. He's had his heart removed, and this new brotherhood of evil mutants, which is Mystique and the Shadow King, the Blob, Sabretooth, the Omega family, and Akira, Fang, have all kidnapped Evan, Kid Apocalypse, and are trying to get him to turn.
Yes.
And our team is having a crisis of consciousness with the fact that them killing this kid in the first place is what caused all this shit to happen.
Yep.
So this is kind of the culmination of all their themes. Should we have killed Apocalypse? It's basically it's a cool bookend for the book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They did that. It's answering the question of like, no, the ends don't justify the means, even if it seems like they do in the short term.
And at the same time, our Kid Apocalypse is kind of wrestling with this idea that like everybody that he looked up to as heroes lied to him, and all of these villains were the ones to tell him the truth. So who is actually a hero and who is actually a villain? And it's struggling with his own like control of his powers and whether or not he's he's just evil by default. Whether or not he's going to be a villain. Yep. All interesting stuff. All good.
Yeah. Big weighty questions that with X-Force.
Yes.
Of this team of kind of anti-heroes.
Cool cover.
A super cool cover.
All our team is marching towards the viewer, and this cool kind of like red, gold, tan kind of color scheme that looks really nice. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, everyone's got their blades out.
Mm-hmm.
We cut over to over here 3 hours from now. In the future, we have Wolverine here, his face half torn off. Here. Holding on to somebody. We don't see who it is. We're going to find out. Sorry, I didn't protect you better. And then Kid Apocalypse comes up in full Apocalypse armor and says, don't worry about it. It's the only way it could have ended.
Mm-hmm.
They did Kid Apocalypse such a bad service by giving him the clown lips.
Yeah.
It makes him impossible to look threatening. Like, I understand narratively he's threatening and I like the character. But boy, oh boy, does he look dumb to me.
It's also very funny that they just had an Apocalypse suit. And they just gave it to him.
They got them for multiple sizes.
Yeah.
No matter how big you are, they've got an Apocalypse suit for you.
Like I had my Apocalypse suit tailored. It fits perfectly.
Yeah. Take it into the crotch. Cut over to the X Cavern. And they'd also just recently blown up and teleported away.
Oh yeah, we forgot about they teleported into the future, and then now they're being teleported back into into their current timeline.
Now they're back.
They arrive at the Cavern X, recently exploded, to find our universe's Deathlock, who is not trying to kill them, but just basically telling them that he's going to track Automaton and the world contained within. And they've got some other shit they got to do. And Wolverine's very, very grumpy because of his trip to the future and seeing that he is a bad guy.
If you're here to fight, I have 3 adamantium answers for you. It's real. Keep workshopping that one, Logan.
There's some real clunky like one-liners in this last 5 that we're covering. There's some real weird stuff in there.
Yeah, even though it's all made up for because they do call Wolverine Claw Clown.
Yes, Claw Clown
makes
is
up for all of it.
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Deathlock basically says, my heart is full of love. If I get involved, I'm going to ruin this. But you need to understand that even though you are the choices you've already made, what you do next will actually define the future.
Yes.
Do not, you can still step back from the brink.
Yeah.
they're all flying over there. We get a brief scene with Beast calling in Ava to yell at Wolverine.
What's that phone number? What's
Ava's phone number? That's a great question.
What exchange?
What's the phone number of Phantom X's nervous system? And can we read it out loud on Monster of the Week?
Does it have a data plan?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Anytime nervous system.
I love this. Like the idea of anytime minutes in my nervous system. It's very like you can't talk to you right now, Beast. This is my expensive hour.
At someday, all of our rollover minutes expire.
Beast is obviously very angry because this new Brotherhood has kidnapped Evan / Kid Apocalypse, and they've been trying to reach Wolverine, who of course does not have Eva's nervous system. Telephone number does not work when it's in the future, apparently. So
yeah,
he's
and he was nervous about taking in Apocalypse anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so this is obviously a big risk. Like somebody getting this is the worst case scenario.
And then we're going to cut over to the Brotherhood for an extended post-coital scene between Mystique and
post and
pre-coital scene with Mystique and Sabretooth. And I don't think that this is like awful by any means. I'm not a food sex guy, especially when it's rare Wagyu in the bed. And the entire time that they're like rubbing like, fucking
meat on each other,
steak juice off of each other and drinking it, I'm just, this pairing really just skeeves me out in a way that I can't describe to you accurately, I think.
It's a lot,
mm-hmm.
It's I get it for Sabretooth. Like he's all grody animal man,
mm-hmm.
So maybe he loves to eat raw beef and then like get down. But it just feels like Mystique should know better.
This seems like a mistake that Mystique has made in her past before.
Nonstop. Yeah, she loves broken birds. They're basically talking about they're going to betray Shadow King.
Yes,
here. The idea is they're going to take this power for themselves. Fuck that guy. Nobody likes him.
They're also wondering, like, is Wolverine dead? And probably not. And how they're going to...
Seriously, like, no way. Yeah. Everyone else might be dead, but that guy's still alive.
And yeah, they're extended it like this. I said it was a long scene. It was only 2 pages. In my head, it was like 27 years. So I guess it doesn't last as long as I thought it
did. You're stuck in a psychic plane of watching Sabretooth eat meat and fuck.
Oh, great. That's the worst version of Groundhog Day that we could ever conceive of.
Eat, pray, love, but Sabretooth's version of it. Cut over to like the little dentist surgery room where they're keeping Kid Apocalypse.
Yes.
And this is just reminding us of his state of mind. Everything's a lie. The headmaster Logan lied. Everyone lied. But, Kiro and Sabretooth, they told me the truth.
Yeah.
And he's eyeballing the suit. If he gets in the suit, the idea is his powers will be so strong. They're telling me he'll be so powerful that Shadow King can't manipulate him. Their plan is for Shadow King to manipulate him in the suit. They're lying to him.
Suddenly, through the door, Phantom X runs in. And Phantom X to Evan is Uncle Cluster, and he quickly wraps Phantom X in a hug and then realizes, this is not Uncle Cluster. This is the skinless man, just basically puppeteering Phantom X's corpse in the room just to fuck with Evan. And our boy Fang is there as well, just having a great time fucking with this child. Like all of them seem to have like a really good time with this.
Yeah, they're comically awful.
Yes.
They're real bad. They're congratulating themselves on this. And Akiro's like, hey, that was fucked up. If you're mad, I'd be mad. Put on this suit and get revenge. You need some time to think about it. We'll just leave you here with the corpse.
Yeah.
And they walk out. And they literally walk out and do the like, too evil. Like he's just like, I love that we left the body with him. Yeah, that was rad. It's so cool what we're doing. Like, it makes sense for Fang, but I don't know how old the skinless man is supposed to be. And it's a real teenager high five bullshit.
Yeah. It's like this is her first time. This is his first time being evil or something, right? Like,
yeah,
it's very strange to me.
One little bit I really like about these issues. So a kind of minor sub theme as to why this thing falls apart, is there's a team theme to this. Like the people in X-Force, as much as they are killers, they actually care about each other. Everybody on the Brotherhood is looking to betray each other.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all selfish and self-interested, and this is going to bring them down. It's a story that's been done a bunch, but I like this articulation of it, of Sabretooth positioning himself as a father figure to Fang.
Yeah.
and just really pushing his buttons.
Laying it on thick,
You
man.
know,
Like just laying it
really
on
thick.
really, really
Yeah.
thick. Talking about how Wolverine is just as bad as they are. He's just a killer, but he just fancies it up because he gets to hang out, with the Avengers, and how Fang, he deserves to have a father that loves him. And he spends a lot of time just really, really mashing on those buttons, like you mentioned.
Yep. He's manipulating him because Fang's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
They go in there where the Shadow King, they go into their room. Shadow King is taking the Omega family and enforcing their false memories.
Yes.
There, to head out. We cut over to Mystique. Mystique is in the shower. She's talking about what she's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Logan isn't dead. When the smoke clears, I'm going to turn the boy onto his tormentor. Shadow King will burn, and they'll fear the true leader of the Brotherhood.
Yes.
She's planning to betray everyone. When Sabretooth comes in and says, we need to talk away from everybody else, the Shadow King might be able to hear you.
Yep. And he's telling her that, like, I'm worried that Farouk is going to betray us and then try to use the boy to create this like horrible apocalypse town. And that it's of course when it's revealed that Sabretooth is not actually Sabretooth. It is our team. It was Psylocke using her psychic abilities to disguise herself as Sabretooth. And then from like, I guess, does she blast Mystique with like her mind powers? Because at like one panel she's just like standing there and they're just like talking, and then the next panel Mystique is just on the ground.
She's a fainting goat.
Yeah,
somebody clapped. I assume she blasted her.
Yeah,
we just don't see the blast. We just see the little butterfly shape.
Sure.
They're talking about, I've looked in her head. Sabretooth believes it is too late for Evan that he's gonna crack. Wolverine is saying like, no, he's a good kid. And Nightcrawler is like, you guys are fucking idiots. Like, Sabretooth has been torturing him. You've seen what Apocalypse can do. If you don't kill this child, you might lose your world like I lost mine.
Yep.
And they're basically having this debate about the nature, the themes here. Psylocke is saying, we don't do that. Last time we did it, only made things worse. We're going to kill things. Eva says, no, maybe we should kill him. Psylocke says, hey, what about fucking Akira? Why aren't we killing him? And Wolverine's like, yeah, it's my son. And she's like, I killed my brother and my lover. You idiot. Like, this doesn't, why is this different? The Wolverine's hypocrisy is on trial here.
Absolutely. Yeah. With good reason, right? Like this is, this is something that they definitely need to talk about. And we switch over to Evan again, who is reaching out to kind of touch this suit for the first time. You can tell he's, obviously in a lot of conflict. And who pops out but our old friend Deadpool came very close to saying Daredevil right there, which would have not made any sense whatsoever.
Daredevil. The implication being he snuck off to kill him. It's like, I couldn't do it before, I can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit of a feint, as we'll see in the next issue. Taking us into Uncanny X-Force number 32. Great cover again. The covers of these have been fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Wolverine versus Sabretooth, just like absolutely savage, bloody battle on the front. Very cool action shot.
Absolutely love to see these two just go at it. It's fun times for me.
Yep. Classic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Classic stuff. That's the little bell that whenever Sabretooth and Wolverine do something cool, plays in the background. It wasn't my doorbell or anything.
Do we need to take a break?
No.
Okay.
No, it'll be there. It'll be fine for a couple minutes. It's not a person. It's a package delivery.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
We start this one out with our good friend Fang, who has created a way, who's looking upon this thing that he has made. This is an empty tank that can fill with water, and kind of contemplating he's made this to kill Wolverine in. He's finally figured out how to kill Wolverine.
Yep. Cut over to Wolverine and Psylocke using cool underwater adventure gear.
Yeah.
To sneak in. And they're basically continuing the conversation they had from before. They're like, well, maybe, is Deadpool going to kill him? And Wolverine believes in everybody. He's like, he's not going to do it. He says, but can you get a lock on his head? And she says, no, we have these brain worms, telepathic dampening worms that they have in their ears.
Hell yeah.
To stop. Yeah, I know. I love it. To stop Shadow King from seeing them.
I love some brain worms. Let me tell you.
They're sticking in some brain worms. Yeah. we cut over to Deadpool. They didn't have to worry about Deadpool. Deadpool is just trying to escape.
He is
him.
he is also having a lot of conflict about this. We'll get into some of his like mental stuff later, but he doesn't want to kill Evan again either, and feels really fucked up that he was involved in killing him the first time. So he's trying to sneak Evan out, but Evan, who is still kind of in the throes of this internal conflict, starts yelling at him like, I know why you're here. Like, you're here to kill me again. Like, you're all just liars. You've done nothing but lie to me. And Deadpool is trying to calm him down, but of course they are heard, and who shows up but Fang, Blob, and I don't know which Omega teen. This
Omega
is
Black.
Omega Black. Okay, so just literally the color of the suit.
It's their colors.
Perfect. Yeah, they show up and they start fucking Deadpool up pretty bad.
Yep. She sticks her tentacles in him, which does fast acting super cancer.
Yeah. Like you do.
Yeah. And he's getting blown up. There's only like one panel of it. It's really gross. He gets really pissed. He decides to fight back. This idea that they've got his powers shut off and they're manipulating him. And he pretty handily takes everybody here and does a little internal monologue about when Wolverine first recruited him.
Mm-hmm.
Asked him how many people he's killed, the same way that teenage boys ask how many girls they've been with. And it's a number you don't want to hear. Like, how do you tell somebody that killing is the only thing that gets you up?
Yeah.
In the morning, like he's reckoning with his shitty past while wiping the floor with these assholes. Like really, really competent Deadpool.
We should also talk about just how awful Deadpool looks with the weird cancer tumors like coming out of his body underneath his suit. Like, this is, oh boy, this is a lot.
It looks like cupping. You ever see cupping?
Yeah. Where you like put and it sucks it sucks the skin up into like the cup that you put down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've gone to I've looked at a couple places for like massage or stuff like that because I don't know, I like a spa kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been experimenting with that idea, and they'll always show cupping as well, and it's the scariest looking thing in the world.
Yeah,
like huge, just perfectly round red lumps that you have on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's so gross.
It was there was a episode of Supernatural, because every Supernatural has everything, where a monster was doing that, and then also like sucking the fat out of people. So they had they had a health club thing set up. So you'd go there and a monster would suck all the fat out of you when you were cupping, and you'd leave like, oh, this worked great.
Grody.
Yeah, super gross.
Yeah, dislike. He slips under the blob, tricks Omega Black into giving the blob super cancer. Jumps over, and he's about to take out Fang when he gets zapped in the back by Apocalypse. Yeah. Kid Apocalypse, because Shadow King has shown up and given him his powers temporarily.
Yes.
Taking advantage of his conflict.
Yeah. And says again, like when Deadpool is like, why did you do that? I was trying to, get you out of here. He says, hey, these people, they told me the truth, and you guys did nothing but lie to me. And even though you and I both know that like that's Farouk's manipulation, like this dude is still a kid. Like this kid, he may be a clone of Apocalypse, but he's still a kid. Yeah,
we got to keep in mind that he's a little bit dopey.
Yeah,
he hasn't read up on Sabretooth's no good.
Yeah,
you don't trust that guy. Every time it's always something bad.
Yeah.
We cut over to Mystique, who has woken up chained or wrapped to a chair, imprisoned. After she got psychically zapped with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler comes in and explains, she's like, you're not my son. And he's like, I am from another place. In my world, I loved you. And she's like, yeah, I can imagine a world where the world did not set me and my son against each other.
Yeah. And this is almost sweet, right? Like this actually feels very sweet to me, where they are having this conversation of like what could have been. And I think it's really interesting when you start dealing with all this multiverse stuff, and just creating these relationships, and the characters acknowledging like you're not that person, but like she even says here, like I'm really curious about how that would look. Like what was she like? And I find that stuff fascinating.
Yeah. I think about that, like people in my life who have died. Like if I was confronted with an alternate universe version of them, that that's a good thing that's impossible, because I don't want to actually try to reckon with that.
Yeah.
It's fucking scary. That's emotionally intense. She starts manipulating him. While this is happening, we're hearing Ava talking to him, trying to stop him from listening. As she says, like, hey, I understand Apocalypse took over your world, but who came after that? Wolverine. And you're working with that guy? Like, he's also an Apocalypse in your world. He kills everyone who gets in his way.
Yeah.
and then she dangles a carrot in front of him, like saying like, hey, I understand Blob killed your wife. I can give him to you.
Yep.
Help me out and you can get your revenge.
Again, like talking about that, this brotherhood just all willing to betray each other at the drop of a hat. Like no loyalty between these
whatsoever
at all. We go back over to the Brotherhood layer where they've got Deadpool strapped into the dentist chair, and they're just all talking about like how are we going to torture him. They mentioned again that he doesn't have a healing factor here, which is very confusing to me because I don't know how he's surviving any of this stuff. At this
Still
point.
alive, yeah. It's all really awful. Fang starts getting impatient, saying like, "Hey, put on the armor. You don't want to. If you're not with us, you're against us here." They leave. They're like, okay, we'll just give him a bunch of cancer and let Evan watch. Let's keep pushing him. They're getting impatient because they're shits.
Yes.
Again, his companions will be here soon. Great little scene where some of the Omega family, Sabretooth and the Skinless Man are hanging out, and like Mystique isn't answering. Do you think Wolverine's gonna infiltrate? And Sabretooth's like, are you stupid? He already has. He just like pops through the ceiling.
That's very funny.
And starts slashing the shit out of Sabretooth.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's time for a big fight, and Wolverine very specifically lets Sabretooth take a hit so that he can go full berserker mode. And he starts tearing the place apart. Skinless Man tries to get him, and he just starts slashing left and right at Skinless Man, and presumably kills him here. I can't remember if this is the spot where he dies, or he just slices him up quite a bit. He shows
stabbed him in the throat at the very least.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he becomes very much of a thing. Takes out the Omega Red, who's here, smaller Omega Red. Takes out Sabretooth. He's really and monologuing about all this stuff.
Yes.
At the same time, losing his mind. Here he's furious. Like the stakes are high. He's gonna do what he can do. We cut over to Psylocke sneaking up on Deadpool, reaches into his head, and is just like, you're an immense amount of pain. I'm gonna turn off your pain receptors. She's saying like, where is everyone? Where is Apocalypse? Has he turned? And he's like, I don't know. He's just shaking back and forth.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign, is it?
Is this good?
Is this good? That seems good, right? When this is happening, the Shadow King notices and engages her on the astral plane as a gigantic samurai ninja turtle.
Yes. And we don't have spend a lot of time in the psychic plane. It sounds like they do. It sounds like they spend like years in the psychic plane, but that's not on the page, and that's what I appreciate about Rick Remender.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I don't want to see it. Wolverine is about to coup de grace Sabretooth when Nightcrawler and Ava teleport in, seemingly Ava. And Ava uses this element of surprise to inject Wolverine with a healing factor, turn off poison. Because of course this isn't Ava, it's Mystique.
Yep.
And Nightcrawler has betrayed them in order to get the Blob.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
What a dick.
What a dickhead this guy from another universe that we don't really know anything about is.
Yeah. Turned out to be a real asshole. This leads us into our third issue and final issue we're covering on this episode.
Best cover? Best cover?
Say what?
Best cover?
Oh, it's a great cover. Super good cover. Like just evil, bloody Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler. I didn't realize this is going ahead, but he makes it out of this.
Yes.
I can't remember where he showed up next.
Yeah, I don't know either. I was actually going to ask you about
yeah.
that on this podcast because I was curious.
I thought maybe he might turn up in Uncanny Avengers, which kind of functions as a sequel to this run, which I've been rereading, but he's not in that. But that does follow up on when we did that Dark Angel thing with Pestilence getting pregnant with Archangel's babies. That's where that plot thread comes through. The Apocalypse twins, which are both real cool.
I need to follow up on some of that stuff. I've not been doing that as much as I've wanted to. We're gonna pick.
I want to do a break at some point, but at some day I think we'll probably end up doing Uncanny Avengers.
Yeah,
like it's pretty bonkers. Like a bunch of great stuff happens in it. So
it does not surprise me because Rick Remender is like just super good at this stuff, right? Like he just seems like
I really like this guy. It's not quite as good because you spend a lot of time with Havoc and Captain America. Like, and Captain America, I can sometimes like both those characters, but they're a little bland. Like they're not exactly his style. But he writes a really good Rogue. And the actual big plot stuff that's happening is great.
Good.
And also in this issue that it is great.
It is
transition.
It is also good. We start out in Wolverine's mindscape. He is fleeing an ice mountain where that somebody has carved Apocalypse's face into.
Love it.
Somebody
Coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, dude. Somebody is talking to him, and they say, Charles put such effort into you, helping you overcome this berserker, this ferocious thing inside of you. But we don't. So it's not, obviously it's not Professor X and it's not Apocalypse. We don't know who it is until he talks a whole lot more, and says, hey, even you loved killing so much that you just kept doing it, and justified it whatever way you can. You even hid it for me. You even went behind my back to do it. And on the next page,
even after I told you that you kept doing it.
Yeah. And then we realized on the next page that this was mental Cyclops, his own personal, like, everyone's got the, they say kill the cop in your head, but I think Wolverine needs to kill the Cyclops in his head.
Yeah, I have a Cyclops in my head I have to kill. I actually, I think I've mentioned this before, and I if I haven't mentioned it here, I think I've mentioned a Best Quality Vacuum. But sometimes when I'm doing a chore, if I'm tempted to like cut a corner or do it a shitty way, I'll imagine Mike the Fixer from Breaking Bad going, "Do it right," and then I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it right."
That's very funny to me.
Do it right, Gary. All right. Or like I to put back my shopping cart.
Yeah,
you put back your cart, Gary. Okay, all right, Mike.
It's funny. It's funny you bring up the shopping cart thing, because Autumn and I were talking about that the other day, and we're real like sticklers about it. Where we'd make sure we put it back every single time, and both of us came to the conclusion that the only reason we do it is because when we get to be like 60, we're just giving up, and we're just going to burn all of that goodwill for the last 60 years. I'm going to do it 1,000 times so that at the end of my life I don't have to do it a single goddamn time.
Once you get old at the grocery store, the rules are all different. Like, I've said this before, but never walk behind an old guy at the grocery store because they'll just fart. It just like I've tried to shop, and the grocery guy, the guy in front of me, had most of the same taste in food, I guess, and was just crop dusting in front of me. And it's like, I'm gonna go hang out in the hardware section for a little bit.
Awful.
And they just don't care.
Yeah,
it's great. When you're old, you don't have to care about anything.
I feel that coming with like right now sometimes, where I'm just like, I just kind of don't give a shit about anything anymore. Like, I'm just willing to do it, and it makes me feel a little weird, because I feel like I probably should have never given a shit my entire life, to be honest with you. Like, totally. Why did I spend so much time worrying about that?
Well, and some of the stuff, like I'm glad I don't fart in grocery stores, and I'm also a cart putter backer. Like I just like, and in my head, before I summon this tulpa of Mike the Fixer, it was always just like, I'm being a good citizen. This is what a good citizen does. Like, we live in a society, like this works because we all do it.
Yeah.
But but more and more things are falling on that. Like, I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Definitely don't give a fuck. But back to the comic book, where Cyclops is basically chiding Wolverine, and saying like, "Hey, I don't even have to push this kid, because he's got Evan there on the side, on the edge of a cliff." He's like, "I don't even have to push him. He's just going to jump on his own." Which is when Apocalypse shows up behind Wolverine, and Wolverine wakes up.
Full Apocalypse. The kid has died, and the man, the monster is here.
Yeah.
Is the idea, the symbology of this.
Wolverine wakes up tied to a chair, which seems like a pretty like pedestrian way to secure Wolverine, if I'm being honest with anybody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Wolverine couldn't just stand up.
Doesn't he have like a lot of strength?
I guess they when you look at them now, they look like ropes in the first panel, but then they kind of look like they're metal. In the next panel, maybe they're adamantium coils.
Okay,
or something.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Stupid. I just when I saw it, like I looked at ropes and I was like, really? We're not gonna.
Yeah, ropes.
Yeah, dental chair was too busy, I guess. So we got that has Deadpool, so we can't put him there. He's gonna be trapped in this room with our boy Fang for the rest of this issue. And Fang is just gonna sit around drinking and telling Wolverine how much of a shitty dad he is, which.
This is where he calls him Stumbly the inebriated manslaughterer, claw clown.
Perfect. No notes.
Stumbly the inebriated manslaughterer is incredible. Incredible energy. I would buy a comic with that on the cover that just had Wolverine looking real serious. Like, go through and do a find and replace and change every instance of Wolverine to Stumbly the inebriated manslaughterer, claw clown.
Yeah, absolutely perfection.
So good. And basically this plot line, of him, Fang getting drunk, he's just going to be guilting Wolverine, this whole time. Again, I don't care about Wolverine's son. I haven't read these comics, so I don't remember exactly what happened other than that Wolverine found out he had a son he didn't know.
Yeah.
which seems like that answers the question, but to Fang, it doesn't. I was grown up tortured. Why couldn't I have a real dad?
Yeah.
And, you're such a good guy. You're a teacher. You're an Avenger, but you're really just a killer and you treated me like shit. You hate me. And Wolverine says, I don't hate you. I'm sad. You are trying to impress me. You have these pain that you have this short and frantic through a brief period of time. You and me never going to have another chance. Like if we die, we can choose how this is going to be between us.
Yes.
And
I like this. Like this is, I like this thing that Wolverine says, which is like your pain and your needs, they don't mean anything. Nothing does. Like all of this is basically just made up. And I like that because like it puts Fang in his place, right? Like I was just saying like, hey, all of this like super important things that you think that are really, really important actually don't mean anything. We can literally just put this to the side and get the thing that you wanted, right? Like it's not too late to have the thing that you say that you wanted from me. We could just do it now. And I think that's like
don't hold a grudge. Like
exactly,
it's not, the past is, you can't change the past, but we do have power over the future. We have dominion over that.
Yeah.
And he basically, Fang pushes back, and he says, listen, I'm your father. Like I have love for you, but you're doing everything wrong. You're making a huge mess of this. And all you're going to leave behind at the end is a stain. Like you're on bad choice road, and this does not work. Fang says, takes another drink and says, do you ever think about what it might have been like if you had really been my father? Going on camping trips, playing catch, teaching me to ride a bike. And he recounts his origin, which apparently he was raised by robots of some kind.
Oh, okay.
Called nannies that taught him to love them and then tried to kill him, so he had to kill them back.
It does sound like a bad life. It does not sound like Wolverine's fault. If I had to...
Not at all. Like, Wolverine just like, hey, I should have been there. I didn't know you were there.
Yeah.
Like,
this is news, my friend.
Yeah. Why does that? I don't know why that doesn't work. It's just like, I didn't know, man. You know how many people have messed with my memory? Like it's like, I never know if I'm remembering things that actually happened. But Wolverine apologizes and, Fang does a toast, to regrets.
Yeah.
We cut over to Omega Black just beating the shit out of Deadpool.
Just having a great time with it. And it's important to note, Omega Black has all these implanted memories that, and which Farouk has obviously gone in and messed with too, so that she definitely remembers Deadpool killing her mother in front of her and all of this other stuff. Like she has a lot of extra memories that don't necessarily exist.
Yep. None of her memories are real. Like she's not a real person. The Omega family. As Deadpool is dying, he's looking at Kid Apocalypse, who's staring at the suit.
Yeah.
And trying to say, like, don't do it. Like, don't be like him. It's a choice. At this moment, Omega Black gets a little message that Kid Apocalypse is needed.
Yes. And Deadpool begs Evan on his way out, like, to please don't listen to him. Like, it's a choice. It's always a choice of what you can do. And of course, Omega Black is like, oh, says the paid killer, says the absolute maniac. Like, yeah.
That's their counter to everything, is just like, yeah, but these guys lied.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they said, they lied once, so everything they said is wrong, It's but again, a kid.
Yeah. We check in on the psychic plane, where Psylocke is now embiggened herself as well, so she's equal size to Shadow King. But she's losing, basically. Like he seems to not be becoming exhausted like she is for keeping this up in many, many psychic years. And she's getting a little desperate, and that's when she gets advantage, and she's about to kill him, and then realizes like, no, I'm done with killing. Like this is something I'm going to promise myself. And then he takes advantage of that. He like strikes out and lashes out at her. And then she wakes up in the real world, not knowing where she is, and more importantly, not knowing who she is.
With amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
The implication being that Shadow King did this to her. We're going to find out this is a defense mechanism. And that's it for the astral plane.
Yeah, we're done.
Over these 5 issues, 2 pages of dumb astral kaiju.
I'm not complaining about that at all.
Yeah. Blob goes to an aquarium here. Says he was summoned by Mystique. This was really a trap, or Nightcrawler's there. I do not know why Nightcrawler really needed Mystique. It's not like the Blob is hard to find or anything.
Yeah.
What she did is have him go into a room. I don't know. Seems like a bad reason to betray the team. He goes in there, attempts to stab him, gets thrown in the fish tank, rides a shark out, and then teleports the shark into his stomach.
This is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I love this.
It's pretty great.
So much. This is just fantastic. Okay, number one, why do we have an aquarium filled with sharks? Who cares? We're the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Doesn't matter.
Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and sharks.
God, this is so fucking good, dude. I mean, just it's absolutely. He teleported a shark into his body.
Yeah,
that is just amazing.
The panel of Nightcrawler riding the shark on dry land for a second is just really good.
It's so funny. His face in that panel where he just looks like he's had the idea, and he's just like, I am a chaotic gremlin, and this is absolutely going to fucking work. Like, this is just incredible energy.
Huge fun D&D energy. Like, huge play your character like a car you've stolen energy. And this kills the blob.
Yeah.
You can't have a shark teleport in your stomach.
And like,
it's gonna eat.
I love that Nightcrawler is like watches this whole thing. Like, he chokes and then vomits blood for a full minute, all the while gasping for air with wheezing, punctured lungs, and then I hear the rattle. Like, he is enjoying all of what he is doing right now.
Yep. But Ava comes upon him. Says, you've had your revenge, you have to pay for it. We cut over to the father-son drinking concept over here, where Fang says, like, we've gone through we've gone through a whole bottle. Let's open another one. Wolverine says, you can stop this. We can start over. And he says, you make a lot of good points, but in fact, I'm about to cross the line of no return. I already have, and presses a button that makes a James Bond panel open up below Wolverine and puts him into his water tank he invented.
Did they just like rent this from Bond's Villain Anonymous? Like, what is this?
The whole thing's very confusing. When they took I can't remember where they're at exactly for this. When they took Mystique out with fake Sabretooth, there are all these ruins of a bank.
Yeah.
Like the crumbled remains of a bank. So whatever this aquarium / banking district that has been destroyed, that is where they're at.
Incredible, dude. I mean, it just seems so weird.
Yeah. At first I thought it was Genosha, because that's where because they're ruins and stuff, and then that's where they picked up Kid Apocalypse. So I think they took him somewhere else, but I can't remember where.
Well, it
is real silly.
They did but I think they implied that it was all in his head, because they did like the tour, right, where they were to go into the convenience store to kill the people, and then they went to like Evan's like home farm, which doesn't actually exist. So I'm just guessing that they just went to Genosha, captured him, and they've just set up shop in Genosha, which this is probably like Magneto's old digs, right? Like, it has to be Magneto's old digs if he has a fucking shark aquarium and holes in the floor that drop into empty tanks.
Who's been feeding Magneto's shark?
Right?
That's the question.
Well, the way he went after Blob, obviously nobody had been.
Yeah, Exodus just shows up like, it's a living, with like a bucket of chum, or Phoebe and Cortez makes the chum extra tasty.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. This is here. There's a little display window here where Fang can watch, and he's got Kid Apocalypse. He's like, hey, after all these years, people keep trying to kill this guy, and he heals all the time, but really, the way to kill him is you drown him.
Yes.
That's the way to do it. Eventually, it'll take a while, but his brain will lose oxygen, and you can't heal that. His brain will die.
I feel like this is a pretty basic way. I feel like somebody has tried to kill Wolverine like this before.
Oh yeah. Like these comics have been going on for a long time. Someone certainly tried to drown Wolverine.
But I like the fact that he's just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make you like, we're gonna sit here and make you watch him die to Evan. Yeah. Like this seems just like extremely mean and awful, which is kind of what we're looking for.
Well, they want to torture him, but they also want him to break bad. He says like, hey, do you want to save him? And he starts punching Kid Apocalypse. He's like, you get to watch him die as he watches you die, or you can fight back.
Yeah.
And it turns out he doesn't. He chooses not to fight back. Deadpool was dying in the dentist room when Omega Black carries him back in. And he's like, I stopped Fang before he could kill him. And this is where Kid Apocalypse says, we can't do this. Like, it is, he's drowning Wolverine. He's crazy. He's going to kill all of us. I have to stop them.
Yes.
Deadpool says, no, you don't put on the armor. Don't put on the armor. And he's like, I've just begun. He's put on the armor.
Yep.
It's going to turn out that the messaging of this is not like, once he puts on the armor, he is not purely corruptible. that wasn't the mistake. Like we're as the moral. This is not the event horizon. It's the Brotherhood is too conflicted.
Yes.
Him having the support of all these people is what's going to save him.
Yeah.
Even though he's put on the evil celestial armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call it for this episode.
It is. We're done.
Yeah, slightly shorter episode. But we're going to be wrapping up Uncanny X-Force in the next episode. As a reminder, after that, we are going to be talking. We have a little MCU special. We're going to catch up on some Marvel movies. Then after that, we're either going to do catch up on some Marvel TV shows, or we are going to start our run of Old Man Logan.
Yeah,
with Gwen,
with special guest star Gwen. When is the convention happening?
End of the month.
End of the month. So you should probably shout that out.
Through the 2nd.
Yeah, this will come out on the 18th.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're in March. Yeah. So yeah, shout out. Tell people about that.
Oh yeah. If you're in the Midwest, come to the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the March 29th through April 2nd. I will be there. Cole will be there. We are going to be paneling. We're going to be joining the Retronauts for their panel. Some Retronauts are going to be joining us for our panel. It is a good convention. It's been real fun to watch it grow up. Like it started the first time we went, it was in hallways of a hotel. And now it is more of a proper, thing. It competes with like Portland Retro Gaming Expo and the Austin one that we've been to. Like it's the real deal. It's gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
We haven't done a show since the pandemic. We're rusty about it, so we might not give hugs and kisses and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll gladly tap your shoes with our shoes, and we have buttons and shit.
If you wanted kisses, you should have been in Austin with us in 2016, because that was where all of the kisses were had.
Kiss.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, we could kiss. It was pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We all got into one big group kiss.
Yep.
It was very difficult.
Hard, but not impossible.
Hard, but not impossible. Yeah. And when there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
Now the kisses are over, but we can still hang out.
Yes. If you can't go, don't worry about it. I'm sure Gary and Cole will be traveling around the country at all, and you'll be able to see them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, donate a couple of dollars per month, and get all sorts of goodies, exclusive podcast, access to the Slack, all kinds of cool stuff in there. So please go check that out. Ratings and reviews are also very helpful. I had a conversation with my hairstylist today, because she said she guested on a podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, what podcast? And I'm not going to bore anybody with that particular story because Jesus Christ. But I was like, when she finished it, she was like, yeah, and I didn't know podcast had reviews. But when my ex found the podcast that I was on, and he left them a really, really negative review about me, and I was like, wow, that's just the shittiest way to talk about an ex I've ever heard in my entire life.
Wow. That's awful. Yeah.
So yeah, don't.
It might happen to me someday.
If you're our exes, don't leave bad reviews. Only leave good reviews, please.
Yeah. Please. And then also patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.